Good morning, and how is everybody today? So I've come back to continue with the book page journal series, and yesterday, for those of you that were with me, we did this faux envelope flip flap, and I did promise, and obviously we need to do a little bit more decoration on it, so we're going to look at that. But also I have been playing with Bookmarks stroke belly bands, and this one goes wee 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 wee, so we'll look at those as well while I'm here with you today. So first things first, I thought because this is faux envelope, I would make a little envelope with my punch board. If you haven't got a punch board, it's very easy to do. It's only a square, and then you just notch out the corners, make a fold on the diagonal all the way around. Okay, so I've cut that out, I've inked it up, and I'm not going to glue it like an envelope. I'm just going to leave it more like a booklet. So on the back I've just glued some baker's twine, butcher's twine, baker's twine, and I've put a little bit of fabric over to secure it. So now my plan was that it would go right on that very front one there, so the music paper's just peeking through, and then we'll tie it up and we'll have something to open and we can put secret stash in there. So let's get some glue on here. I'm going to use a bit of Fabri-Tac because it's quite a robust little thing, this, and we want it to hold tight. We don't want it coming off, and of course it's going to get a lot of movement being on the front of the flippy flappy. Let's put the lid on. We all know what Fabri-Tac's like if you forget to put the lid on. So I'm just gonna place him on the edge there, give it a press down like so, and then if we open him up we can get a little bit more pressure on there. So then we've got our little close up there, and then we can use our string. And obviously you can use all sorts of ribbon for this. You may choose to just put a pretty butterfly or something there that you can flip the end piece through. I like string and bows. Obviously that's a bit giant, so we're pulling right down tight. Oh, more fingers than thumbs this morning, honestly. Right, that's all very tight actually, is it? Let's try and go again. Who would think that doing a bow could be such a nightmare? But there you go. I think, you know, it's the land of YouTube filming, the amount of times that I watch videos and I see people say, or I hear people say, you don't see people say anything, do you? Well, it worked fine when I did the demo. Yes, it always does because nobody else is watching. So we've got that on there. I did a collage pocket here on the back music page, and then this is just some book page that I die cut a hole in, and I stuck a little bit of music page on the back and then a butterfly on top, and then coffee dyed paper on the back for journaling. So just keep the butterflies going there, and this is from an old coffee card. It's only a print, obviously not a real one. St Paul's in London, and then just shabby dabby doodah number and various other bits and pieces on there. So I thought it might be nice to use one of these bookmark belly bands on there. I think that's very pretty. So I'm just gonna, again, actually, I think I'll use some Fabri-Tac. I know it might be a little bit of overkill because it's only paper on paper, but if people are pulling stuff in and out from underneath all the time, it can weaken it a little bit. So a good strong glue never did anybody any harm. Let's pop that there and there. Give it a hold down for a little minute. There we go. And obviously then we can slide stuff underneath for storage. So that's pretty, like that. I wasn't going to put anything on this thin one, especially not that side, because I think that side's particularly pretty. So I'm going to leave that. Do I want to put something on here? Maybe a little bit of just like collard there. So I've got one of my fabric snips here. You remember we did the messy stitching on fabric, so we can sort of put him there. Now I did have some stencil numbers over here, famous last words of what we had and what we've lost, but anyway. I stenciled a load of numbers and tore them out because I thought they would be handy to have around, and now of course you can't find any, can you, Claire? Bit of music sheet, that's not what we want. What is it? Play amongst yourselves while I try and find a number. Okay, well in that case we've got a little bit of book page, because we are working with book pages, are we not? No, see, I don't like that now because I had it in my brain to have a number. Okay, I'm going to have to do another number. I'm going to have to stencil a number because that's going to bug me now that I've had the idea. So this is a Tim Holtz number stencil. Fast becoming my number one favourite. I use it all the time, and I do actually blame Somerset Studio for this, because back last summer, no, was it last summer or last winter? Anyway, a little while ago, they did a skinny journal. I'm sure you've all seen that, and I just got sucked into it, and I was like, I need those numbers. I need numbers to go on things. So there you go. So I think number 3 is going to be good here, or do we want number 2? No, I like number 3. We're going to have number 3. So I'm just going to literally use my shading brush. There we go, we've got a 3. And this particular stencil are not complete numbers. You can't really see it on the stencil, but you can see it a little bit better here. It's like broken. Not only the normal stencil broke, but it's like broken. So I'm just going to tear him up and get rid of that bit. Like that. Right, and let's bring our flip flap back in. See, now I'm happy. So I'm going to put that there like that. We're going to get rid of that bit because we don't want that. And I think I will slide my music page under there. So let's get our inking brush back. Let's go round our number 3. You see, it just goes to show that preparation doesn't work. I spent ages the other day doing loads of stencils across, oh no, I don't want that bit, off of coffee dyed paper and leaving them to be torn up and used, and then when you want to use them, you can't find them. Planning, oh, see, now I'm gluing the wrong side. Planning just never works. Well, it doesn't for me anyway. So we had him about there, and then the fabric. Now I love to use Pritt Stick on fabric. It works extremely well. It sounds very weird because obviously that's what Fabri-Tac's for, but when I'm sticking fabric to paper, I find there is no better adhesion than Pritt Stick or glue stick. And then I think we'll have him there, so you can see the fabric this side and then the detail there. There we go. So, looks like that. I quite like that. Right, so we've got that one. That one I was planning to leave anyway. We've got the pocket on the back. We've got the belly band on that one. Now we haven't got anything on here. Again, I think I might leave that because there's a lot of interest there with the different photographs, and it'd be nice for someone to mount a big photograph or whatever onto. So I'm going to leave that. That one flops in, and I think there's too much detail again on this one to put anything on. That's pretty, and then we got our paper on the back. So I deem that one finished. So that one's done. Let's go back to our belly band stroke bookmarks. This is very, very simple. I can't remember who I saw do this originally. I know the slider comes from Carol Tinson, Crafty Design Emporium, Crafty Design Emporium. In fact, she's got major celebrations going on her channel at the moment because she's just hit 10,000 subscribers. And obviously she's very pleased, and she's doing all sorts of celebrations. We had a duck race, which was hysterical. But anyway, so you could pop over and join in celebrations with Carol if you wanted to. Oh. Right, so I'm just using my Pritt Stick. Okay, so I've taken the book page, I've folded it in three, or almost three, and then I'm just going to glue the middle and the edge, the small edge. Pick that bit of glue up. Right, and then I'm going to fold that one down and fold that one down. Okay, so now we've got A, the size that we want, and B, because it's 2.5, 3 layers, it's that much thicker. Awesome. Okay, so now you need to decide what you want your slidey piece to be. So I thought, how fun would it be if we used, I'm sorry, look, I've got black on me. That's from where I was doing the wax seals the other day, and I've just moved the little saucepan thing you melt it in. I thought it'd be super exciting if we used a Tim Holtz paper doll. So I'm going to ink up all the edges first, because once we do it, we won't be able to get everywhere we want to get. I just thought it'd be quite fun to see a person sliding up and down the book page. So obviously this is still a little bit wet where I've just glued it. It's one of the things I've noticed about Pritt sticking, especially when you first glue with it, it's sort of bendy and mouldable and a little bit damp. But then once it's dried off and set up, it's actually really quite hard. Okay, so that's that. I've then got, do you remember the hinges we made the other day? Just from a bit of book page. So I'm going to glue that, seal him up. So rather than a hinge, it's a nice solid piece of paper. And I'm then going to put him behind my bookmark or my belly band. I'm then going to take a piece of this ledger paper, purely because it's quite thick, and I'm going to overlap it because obviously we need it to slide. So I'm going to overlap it basically from that edge to this pink. So that's about, I'm not very good with inches. Is that about 1/8 of an inch? Something like that. So let's get our tear roll and make it pretty, like that. And let's see, do we want it that big? Yeah, I think we do actually, because if we're going to put a paper doll on it, we want it to be quite big. I'm just wondering now, sorry I'm dithering, if this is thick enough, which is why I'm like umming and ahhing. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it onto another book page, because although this is the look I want, I don't think it's particularly thick enough, bearing in mind we want to slide it up and down. I mean, this one here is like 2 of the book pages, and then it's got the butterfly on top. So I'm going to stick him on there, wasteful in the middle, but we're not short of a few book pages, are we? So let's put him off. Basically, obviously, if you'd have done this with cardstock, then you wouldn't be faffing around doing this now, because it would already have been thick enough. Look, now I've got glue all over my ruler. Oh, it's a disaster. I wonder if I should rename to the Messy Crafter. Or we could have a title, have you had a bad day? Watch a video with Claire, because it's always going to be a disaster and make you giggle. There you go. So now we're going to put him over there like that. All right. So turn him over. I'm trying to make sure that you can see exactly what I'm doing. I think you can. I'm going to put a small amount of Fabri-Tac on the edge. Okay, I've given up with that small bottle that I had, and then I'm just gonna line that up, make sure that can still slide, and then I'm going to press that down. There we go. And that can still slide up and down, which is what we want. So I'm going to slip him off, make sure he's properly stuck, okay, and then I'm going to trim him up with my scissors. I think we'll have a little bit more ink around this edge. See, I've thrown the ink dauber on the floor. Told you, it's crazy. Crazy woman you're watching here. Well, I hope it gave you a giggle if nothing else. Because, hey, if we can't laugh at ourselves when things go wrong, then you might as well just give up, really, because laughing at yourself is the only way to get through life as far as I'm concerned. Right, I think we discussed that mainly yesterday. Let's have a look at some of these paper dolls that we've got here. Let's have a little tip out, I find is usually the best, and then flip them over and decide what we want. Do we want this very serious gent? Now that might work very well, purely because this is numbers in a suit like that. Does he look a little bit like a banker maybe? So we could use that one. Or the couples are obviously too big. He doesn't really work, he looks a bit casual, doesn't he? So it's just a case of having a little play, deciding which one we think might work. We see she looks sort of business-like and official as well, doesn't she? So we could use her maybe. No, I don't think we do enough with men. I'm going to use the man, I think. Like that. Although my only concern, I'm just thinking, is you're not going to get to slide very far before he's bashing his head and coming off the... Does that matter? No, I don't think it does. Right, okay, so I'm going to slip him. I'm going to slip him through our slider, okay, and I'm now going to look at Mr. Banker, or Mr. Banks. I'm laughing at Mr. Banks because of course that's Mary Poppins, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue from the knee to the shoulder. Okay, so from the knee to the shoulder. Don't forget his hand. Turn him over. And we're going, whoops, over a little bit. So there we have, oops, I'm going a bit skew with here. There we go, we have Mr. Banks sliding up and down our page. Ta-da! There you go. So, what did we do today? We decorated up our flip flap and we looked at book page, belly bands. These two obviously need to be belly bands because in order to slide they need to go up and down, but there's no reason this one you couldn't put a string through, make it into a bookmark. So there you go. Thank you for joining me. It's great to have you along on my journey. Stay safe and I will see you soon. Bye for now.